Hello everyone, this video is regarding installing a LAMP solution on a EC2 instance and installing a WordPress on it. So first of all, we need to have a instance of EC2. So it is a straightforward task. We are going to select a Linux 2 AMI and then we are going to launch the instance. So to launch this instance, we are going to select the general purpose T2 micro instance. So we will keep everything on default. We will be keeping the VPC and the subnets as a default value. We are not going to change anything in the storage as well. The only change which we are going to do is when we are using Windows, so we have a RDP protocol at this place, but now we are having a SSH protocol, which means we need to use a secure hash, or you can say we need to use a command line terminal to connect with this instance. And if we are going to install Apache Linux and Apache and PHP with it, so we need to have a HTTP request to be processed on this server. So we are going to enable this HTTP protocol for this. After that, we can review and directly launch the instance. Now here we have to choose the existing key pair. This is an important task which you should be aware of. So if you want to create a new key pair, you can name a new key pair if you have already with you, so you can use that. So let us start for this. So it is a new name which we can give, like I'm giving a key name as new name or SEC2, then download it. So once you get this, just save it on your screen system and then launch the instance. So once your instance is launched, after that, the next task for us is to connect with this instance. So now you can't directly use this IPv4 to connect with this instance. You need to use the public DNS for it. But before doing that, we have a task of converting our ppm file into ppk file. So for that, if we want to use Putty, so we can use PuttyGen for that. So in PuttyGen, you have to load a key. So that key which you are going to load will be the key which you have downloaded while you were creating the instance. You have to select that. Once it is loaded, you have to save the private key, save it as ppk file. It will automatically store it as ppk. So once it is stored, this is done. The next thing which you require is to connect with Putty by using Putty. So at this host name, you are going to enter this public DNS. So put it here. Then you are going to go in SSH and go to auth. In auth, once you are here, you have to browse the file which you have just downloaded. So new key AMI in my case, so I have selected that and try to open it. Now once we are trying to establish a connection, this is going to remain default for all of your EC2 instances. So the username should be EC2 hyphen user, and it will automatically use that key which you have shared with them to get the authentication. Now what once it is done, you will get such kind of a message that you have logged in into a Amazon Linux 2 AMI. Now after this, the next task which we have, that is to get the root access for this Linux AMI image. So what we are going to do is sudo su is for super user, which is simply root command to get the root. Now after getting the root access, the next thing is to install a Apache server. Now to install the Apache server, we are going to use the yum directory, yum install httpd. Now once you have done this, it will download the dependencies, and you can click yes, and once it is done, it will complete this task. And once the it completes successfully, after that you have to start the service. So it is service httpd, then start. Once you have executed it, so now it is started. How you can check this? Simply copy this DNS address and put it here in your browser, so you can see there is a test page available for us. Now this is a test page for Apache server, so it means our Apache server is working fine. Then after this, the next task which we have is to install PHP on it. So to install PHP, we are again going to use this yum repository, yum install PHP. Sorry, there should be a space. PHP. Then after this, PHP MySQL. So it will again ask for the download. You can enter yes in it. Once it is downloaded, now this is done. So PHP is also now installed. Now what you can do is you have to restart this Apache server to see the changes. So what you need to do is you can go to service. You can type in the command service httpd. Then you are going to put a command that is restart. So now earlier we were having service http start. Now we are having server http restart. So it will restart the server. Now this is done. Next task is to create a, now once you have installed the PHP, the next task is to create a test page in PHP. So if you look into the Apache server, you can see this. They are writing that if you want to add the content, this is the directory where you should visit. You can go to this directory and add up your content. So what we are going to do is we are pasting it here. Instead of HTML star, we can use HTML. Here we can put CD. That is, now we are in HTML page, the directory of HTML. Now once we are here, to create a test page, what we can do is we can use a command vi. Then this is our page which we are creating. You can create the page whichever you want. It is up to you. Whatsoever name you want to give instead of test, it is up to you. So you can give that name. Once you enter it, now this is the PHP file which you are having. If you want to insert anything into it, you can either, if your keyboard is having an insert key, you can use that, or you can click I. So then you are in insert mode. Now currently I'm just writing how to get the information about PHP. So I'm just writing a function to get the PHP information. So it is PHP space PHP info. This is the function which I have entered. This function will tell us what uh, what version of PHP is installed on which server it is working, what is the address of that server on which it is running. So it will tell us all the information about PHP. Now if you want to exit from this file, you have to firstly press escape, then you are going to put a colon and then type WQ. Once you enter you will get out of that file. Once you are here, the next thing is now to check whether this work or whether this page which we have created is successfully created or not. So how to do that? Simply go to your browser and put the slash and the name of page which you have created. In my case, it was test.php. So now it is working. So we are having all the information that where it is installed, what is the server administrator, what is the IP address of that server. So we can get all the information about it. Now, HTTP headers, this is the link. So you can verify it is the same link from where we are getting the response. So this is how we can check the PHP installation that whether it was correct or not. Now, next task which we have that is a little bit not that much difficult. It is just to install a SQL server on it. Now to install a SQL server, we have a command which we can use to do so. So that is RPM. I will just write it directly. RPM, which is to get it from a location which is on Yum. TP is repo.mysql.com. Or I have prepared a file, I can directly copy it from there instead of typing in. So this is the location from where we can get the repository for SQL. So we can simply paste it. So after this, we are going to enable it. Why is it not downloading it? Just wait. There is one problem. Now, what is that problem? This U is capital. The U which we are going to use, UHV, that is capital. So this value should be changed to capital U instead of small u. Please remember this. This is a capital U, not a small u. Then once you are here, you can click next. So then it will install it. So once it is done, then the next is to enable that repository which we have just connected with. So we have enabled it. Once it is enabled, then you can enable the yum command to make it work. So now it is going to install a 553 MB of data. So you have to wait for some time for the completion, but it is very fast. Now there is one another thing which you need to remember while you are building the SQL when it is working. So while installing it, you need to have a key with you. Now you need to get that key. So to get that key, you need to use a command for grep. There is a command known as grep. So you need to use that key. So we have that grep command. So we are going to use that grep command. So we will just wait for it to finish. So we will wait for it to complete. Once it is completed, so our task for the installation is complete. Now the next thing is we need to enable this command. So our simple work is service MySQL D star. Now this should give us an error after when we are going to create the database. So this will give us an error because whenever we are going to create that installation, so this will provide us a installation error. We will just in that command SQL underscore secure underscore installation. So this is our command. We need a user root. For this, we need to have a password. And if we are not having a password, we need to get that password. So for getting that password, we need to use the command grep. So this is if I enter any value, it will deny my access because we are not having the password. So we will need to use the grep command. It is grep temporary password slash the location of that file which was at var slash log slash MySQL d dot log file. Now this is the password which we need to either you can click an image of it or what you can do is just select it and to paste just do a right click so it will automatically paste it. Now let us start with the service. So we are going to go into secure installation, then select this, do a right click of your mouse and you will get a password entered automatically. So now you have to give a new password at this place. To give you a new password, you should have the same criteria to follow like one capital letter, one small letter, one exclamatory or any symbol. So you have to follow that scheme for SQL. So I will just put a password, enter. Now estimated strength is 100%. Do you actually want to change it? It will ask you the password for two times. So you need to re-enter the password again. New password, then re-enter. This process has to be repeated for two times. So, do you want to remove the anonymous users? Yes, if there is any. Do you want to stop the remote access? Yes. It is to protect your database. If there is any test database already present, do you want to remove that? Yes, we want to remove it. Privilege tables, yes, we want to access them. Now it is done. Now you should be able to access your SQL Server. So SQL Server is also now installed. So after installing the SQL Server, the next thing which we have to do is to install a WordPress on this. So how to do that WordPress on it is simply we have to put the command install word to do this cd var slash www, the directory which we have got from that test server which was here, the test Apache test server. So whatsoever value we have got from here there, so we are going to go to that library, sorry, that folder. After that we are going to get this PHP file, sorry, this WordPress from repository. We are going to download it. For that we are going to use wget http, then wordpress.org. Now this is what we are going to download. It is the latest.tar.bz. This is the latest version of WordPress which we are going to download. If you need more advanced versions, you can get it always from them. So after this, once it is there, you have to tar it. Then you are going to write the commands xzpf, then latest dot tar dot bz. Now remember this name which you are using at this place should be same what you have downloaded. So once it is done, now this is installed. So we what we did, the first step was to install the Apache server, second was to install PHP, third is to install MySQL. Now the fourth thing which we did, that is installing WordPress. Now once we have installed the WordPress, what we can do is we can create a blog at this place and we can configure the configuration files in which you are going to give your passwords to assess the database, how they are going to access the database. So we are going to use that. So let us do this and WordPress blog. So now we are in that. After this, we are going to go in the file blog and move the configuration files. Okay, sorry, wmv hyphen wp. Now let us edit this file of wp config dot h. Now this is our configuration. In this configuration file, what you can do is you can put up your credentials, how you are going to access the SQL database. So you can put it at this place, your password, your username. So all the things which you need to connect, you can put it here and your configuration will be done. And if you want to exit from this file, press escape and then type in WQ and you can move on. So this was all related to installation of your WordPress by using EC2 instance. Thank you so much.